It's the Bulls Podcast, Episode 2.
I'm not doing it for the money. I'll be doing this even if it was for free. I would still, giving my all and work hard to get better because this is what I love to do. The money and all that stuff is just a plus. Playing on TV and being in the NBA, all that stuff is, is just a plus. I do this stuff because I love to do it. I really love the game, and I never would take the game for granted. The reason I wake up every day and work so hard and give it my all is because I love the game. I'm chasing a dream. I'm not chasing the money or chasing the bag. I hear people saying secure the bag or chase the bag or go get the bag, all the time, man. That's cool and all, but I don't even look at it like that. Like, I'm chasing a dream. This is my dream.
Welcome to the Bulls Podcast, coming to you from bullspodcast.com. We're the official podcast for the Chicago Bulls fan. And this is where we'll be bringing you the latest news, reviews, rants, rumors, and opinions on the players, coaches, and front office of the Chicago Bulls. I'm your host, Marcus Couch, and with me is our co-host, Mr. Wise Black.
Yep. What's up to all my Bull lifers, man? I'm just happy that we're on episode 2 now, and I think it should be a fun one, man. We're not going to waste any time. Let's get it. Let's go.
All right. We got a lot in store for you this episode, including talking about the Bulls re-signing Ryan Arcidiacono, Zach LaVine going off for 50 at the crossover tournament, Denzel Valentine getting outplayed and called out at the Drew League, David Nwaba signs with the Cavs, and we'll share with you our expectations for all the Bulls players going forward. Now that we have our roster in place this week, we're going to talk about all the Chicago guards. And Wise and I are going to explore some fun trades to think about using the ESPN trade machine. And that's all coming up right after this. And we got some great news this week. Even though last week we talked about Ryan Arcidiacono, we were wishing him well and knew that he'd be doing well at his next club. And as it turns out, his next club is us. He re-signed with the Chicago Bulls. He's now going to wear number 51. He previously wore number 15 in his rookie season, but he wanted to give that number 15 over to Chandler Hutchinson, who wore that number at Boise State. So he kind of just switched him around. He's now number 51. In his first year with the Bulls last season, Ryan played in 24 games, averaging 12.7 minutes per game with just 2 points. But he was 42% from the field with 1 rebound and 1.5 assists per contest. He did prove his worth once again this summer league, and it's great to have Arcidiacono back with the team. Seems like a really high character kind of guy who's exactly what the Bulls want. Very competitive, and I look forward to seeing what he can do.
I actually really like Ryan Arcidiacono. I don't think that, he's going to get a whole lot of minutes or anything like that, just with Chris Dunn and Cam Payne being our point guards for now. But I really like Ryan Arcidiacono. Like you said, he's a high character guy. I think he's going to be a really good guy for the locker room. And I think he's a really solid point guard, too. I just don't think that he's necessarily the point guard that you're going to look to win you games or anything like that. So he's basically a filler just in case someone gets hurt or something like that. So good for Ryan Arcidiacono, though.
Yeah, and if anybody saw his play over at Summer League in Las Vegas, he's a damn good point guard. He's one of those fundamentals type of point guards.
He's
not
pure
flashy.
Point guard.
Yeah, he's not flashy. He doesn't get crazy, but he'll put the ball right on the money. He's a good guy to have on our bench. Look forward to that. Did you happen to catch this Drew League thing with Denzel Valentine and Frank Nitti?
Did I?
Oh, man. So those of you that didn't catch it, there's the Drew League, and there's this guy his nickname is Nitti. He dropped 40 points with Denzel Valentine guarding him. And then he did a bunch of moves on him, scored on him a bunch of times, and then he turns over to DeMar DeRozan, and he looks at him and says, "How did this guy get in the league? How?" Denzel Valentine, did you get into the league on layaway? And that wasn't the end of it. He did the same thing to James Harden the next day, but Harden just kind of gave him the side-eye stare and was like, yeah, okay, whatever. But what'd you think of that? What did you think of Denzel's play and the taunting?
Oh, man. So he let dude snatch his heart out. I feel like Denzel Valentine should have just took a different approach to the game. Just because Denzel Valentine is more of a niche player in the NBA. You know what I mean? He's not a player who necessarily has a ton of talent. Denzel Valentine is a player who, is going to play make a little bit and hit threes when he should. But defense obviously isn't his strong suit. So going out there trying to go up against, although at the same time, this is a player who's not even in the NBA, so he should have showed out against him. If you ask me, he should have definitely just murdered this dude. But you have those players who aren't in the league that can actually hoop, especially on the offensive end of the ball. And this kid, Nitty, just showed out on him, man. He made him look like he wasn't in the league. So, bad luck, Denzel. Bad luck, man.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that Denzel will actually recover from this public neutering that happened on the court like that. And hopefully he uses this kind of humiliation as a motivation to get his ass in gear this season, because that's exactly what we need him to do. There is clearly a number of people that are dead weight on this bench that we've got this year, and Denzel's got to step it up, man, or he's gone. And I don't know how he would ever work with another team. Like, I know when we had Tony Snell, he was kind of like the same kind of guy, really timid and didn't really get it like he should. But then he got traded and he's lights out for Milwaukee. So I don't know.
I wouldn't say lights out.
All right, lights dimmed. How about that?
There you go. That's better. He's solid. Yeah.
Yeah. I gotcha. Yeah. But anyway, Milwaukee did get the better end of that particular deal, because who was that? Michael Carter-Williams that we got?
Yeah. I
never respected Michael Carter-Williams after Mike Dunleavy punched him in the throat in that one playoff game. I don't know if you remember that.
Nah,
yeah. Oh, man. I got to play this replay for you. He punched him. Mike Dunleavy punched him in the throat really hard as he was kind of going in. He got away with it, and that's the very next play after that timeout was the one where Giannis came over and drilled Dunleavy into the stands. Do you remember that?
Oh, okay. Yes, you just refreshed my memory. Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
That's what happened. Anyway, I don't want to get off on that. So let's talk about Zach LaVine. Crossover, which is Jamal Crawford's annual game. I don't know what Zach was thinking, but he went off, man.
He was unconscious.
50 points? I mean, okay, yeah, it's a little pickup game, but whatever. He had 4 or 5 just incredible slam dunks. I can't wait to see him do this at the UC. I just can't wait, including his little signature kind of warm-up dunk that he does before the game where he goes through the legs, the one that he did in the slam dunk contest.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like Zach is super, super pumped up after that new contract, and he's ready to make his mark in Chicago this season, which we sorely need. What'd you think of Zach's performance at Crossover?
I thought he went out there and did exactly what he should have done. He did exactly what Denzel Valentine should have done.
Yeah.
He made the amateurs look like they were playing against a guy who was in the NBA. Yeah. So, I didn't put too much weight into it. I thought it was a really fun game. Zach LaVine went out there, did his thing, dropped his 50, as you said. But when I looked at some of the clips, it wasn't a whole lot of defense being played, but you could still tell the difference between him and all of the other players on the floor. He looked like the star out there, as he should have. So Zach LaVine definitely did his thing in his pickup game.
And the thing for me is I can tell you this right now, that whole injury thing, gone. There's no way you can move like that and still be feeling any injuries or anything like that, or the ACL stuff. That's the kind of thing that I'm sorry to say we really wanted from D Rose when he came back. We wanted to see that explosive step.
Come on,
I'm not going to knock on him. I love D Rose.
No D Rose slander on the pod.
I'm not, but I'm just saying that's what we wanted. Another thing that we wanted, especially that you wanted, was David Nwaba to be re-signed, and he did not. They had to rescind that qualifying offer for David Nwaba because they wanted to make some room for Jabari Parker. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the NBA is a business. That makes total sense. But David Nwaba has now inked a deal with the devil in terms of our mortal enemy, the Cleveland Cavaliers. They finalized a contract with him, looks like today. David Nwaba is 25 years old. He averaged about 8 points and 5 rebounds per game last season in a reserve role for the Chicago Bulls. He was a complete diamond in the rough. Nobody knew anything about David Nwaba. And if you watched any games last year, Stacey King would always say there's 5 Nwabas out there because it seemed like the guy was everywhere. Everywhere. It wasn't that surprising. I wasn't surprised, were you?
Actually, I was.
Really?
I was surprised that the Bulls let him go, man. I thought he really got along with the front office, and I thought they were high on him. Their key words, which they should have been. David Nwaba was our best perimeter defender. And as you said, like Stacey King would say, there's 5 Nwabas on the floor. You don't get that out of a lot of dudes in the NBA. Those guys who actually go out there and just play like, their life is dependent on it. And David Nwaba was one of those guys. He was just the ultimate hustle player. He would rebound. He would drive to the basket like crazy. He would throw himself at the best player on the floor every night. He didn't care whether they had 6 or 7 inches on him. He was guarding Giannis, LeBron, KD. Like, that dude was just the player that any team in the NBA would want on their squad. And I was really sad that the Bulls let him go. But as you said, it's a business, so it is what it is.
Now, I wasn't so surprised because Zach LaVine, obviously, healthy. We expect him to be around all season. We got Chandler Hutchinson. We got Jabari Parker. We got Justin Holiday. We got Denzel Valentine. Yeah, I would have waived Valentine and saved Nwaba if it was me. But I don't control the money. But either way, even if we had re-signed him, he would have been fighting for minutes. I don't know how. I think he kind of, he's maybe the number 3 guy. He's put in there. But
you mean behind like Denzel and LaVine?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that they would have used him in spots. Like for those defensive purposes and those hustle plays. I think he would have averaged around like 15 minutes a game.
Yeah. So I look forward to when the Bulls play the Cavs and he goes off for like 30 on us because he's pissed.
I hope he does. He the only player I hope does, man. That was my guy.
That's right. So I wish him well with the Cavaliers. I know you do too, Wise. We're really big fans of David Nwaba. And, man, I hope he's a millionaire for the rest of his time in the league and beyond because he deserves it. He's a guy who started with basically nothing, paid a couple $100 to try out for the G League, made it, fought his way and got all the way into a contract with the Bulls. So amazing guy, amazing story, and we wish him nothing but the best.
Legit. Yep.
All right. We're going to talk about something new right now, which is something that we need your help on. And that's social. Right now, we're a new show. Wise and I are recording episode number 2 right now. But the thing that we need the most is some social help. So I'm going to give you a couple things here. It's really easy to follow us online. If you want to go to bullspodcast.com/Twitter, /Facebook, you'll get into our Facebook group, /YouTube, gets to our YouTube channel, bullspodcast.com/Instagram, will get you right to our Instagram. So we just wanted to take the hard work of trying to find us through social out of the equation and make sure that you can reach us directly. So please be sure to reach out and get us. Go to bullspodcast.com/Facebook if you want to interact. We got a full group there. Even my mom's in the group. Wise, you're not in the group yet. We got to get in there.
Oh, for sure. No, I'll be in there.
So help us out, join us, and follow the Bulls Podcast on social media. And as promised, Wise and I are going to break down a couple of the players for the next couple weeks. This week, we're going to talk about guards. We're going to go with both point guards and the shooting guards. And I'm going to kick this one off here. This is Chris Dunn, the point guard. He was a really great surprise for us last year. As a result of the Jimmy Butler trade, Dunn was brought over with Zach LaVine and the draft pick that turned out to be Lauri Markkanen. He had a gang of injuries last year, including kind of this gut-wrenching end-of-dunk face plant into the hardwood floor of the court that had him out several weeks with concussion protocol. He even took a chunk out of the floor. I hope they
Did it.
peeled that tile off for him. Would you want to keep that? I would. Right?
He
Look at that,
might as
man.
well.
I bit that right there. Look at that. This year is probably going to be the breakout year, I hope, for Chris Dunn. So here's my expectation. Wise, you can follow with yours. I think it's a make it or break it season for Chris Dunn. We're really counting on him because there really aren't many great backup options for the Bulls right now. We really have to have him perform efficiently and quickly. And he's got plenty of targets that he can throw the ball to. You got new guys. You got Jabari Parker, Wendell Carter Jr., Chandler Hutchinson. You're talking about now you combine that with Lowry and all the rest of the guys. Gosh, we really, really need him to do it. And I think he can. What do you think?
Yeah, the exact same thing. I definitely think that Chris Dunn is going to come in and he's going to do his thing come next season. He's going to do pretty much more of what he did last season, but he'll just have a lot more targets to throw to, right? I think that he'll get Laurie involved because if you ask me, when I watched those two on the floor together, they had the best chemistry on the team. When before that whole face plant that Chris Dunn had, I thought that he and Laurie, like, they had some really good chemistry on the floor together. And with Jabari Parker coming in, I think that he's going to pretty much do the same. I was reading an article where Jabari Parker was stating that he doesn't mind playing off of the ball. So I don't think they're going to do a whole lot of, ball stopping with Jabari. And I'm hoping the same with Zach LaVine. So if Chris Dunn can legit come in and up his percentage of scoring around the rim and continue to do his thing with his mid-range game, I know that they say that's a lost art. Like, that's a bad shot in the NBA today, but some players are just really good at that. And I think if that's his shot, he should go ahead and just stick to it. But that doesn't mean he should undermine the three ball either. I think working with Coach Fred Hoiberg, I'm pretty sure they're working on that this summer. And I think he'll come into next season showing that he's a better player all around. I really believe in Chris Dunn. Can't wait to see him. Yeah.
Me too. Yep. Let's then go to one of our other guards, Cameron Payne, point guard. He was brought over as part of the Taj Gibson, Doug McDermott trade to OKC. He's somewhat of a mystery because he's been out for a majority of his Bulls tenure due to foot injuries and other things. So we haven't really seen a lot of Cameron Payne to date. He played in 25 games last year, and he did average almost 9 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists. So I was a little surprised that he put up what he did, but when you watch his play, he just doesn't look crisp. He doesn't look like he's really hustling. He doesn't look like I've never seen Cameron Payne dive on the floor for a ball, not once. And that could just be, I don't know, maybe in the 25 games that he played, there was no loose balls that he had access to. I don't know. So my expectation for him, be consistent with those numbers and score a bit more. I'd love to see him get 12 or 13 points a game. It's not much more. With that, we can have a little bit more confidence in Cameron as a solid backup point guard. What do you think, Wise?
I think that 12 or 13 is a little bit much for him. Like, I don't mind his 8 point or his 9 points per game now. I think coming in as a backup point guard, if he can average around 9 points per game, say about 4.5 assists and around like 2 steals a game and help out a little bit with rebounding when he can, just on those long rebounds, I'd really like to keep him. That's if he can improve on his, eye test skills. Like you said, when you watch him on the court, like he doesn't have a really strong presence necessarily, but I think with what he showed us last season, I think he can, capitalize on that. I'm hoping that he can do more of that and just come in, like you said before, bulk up some, improve on his shot a little bit more, although he shot it at a decent clip, but just more consistently. And if he can get everybody involved that are on the bench with him, his bench mates, then, I think he can have a really solid season. I'm not mad at Cam Payne. I know a lot of people are down on him, but not me.
I question his judgment with that crazy Space Jam tattoo that he put on his leg. I don't know if you saw that yet.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, you'll see it. You'll see it. You'll shake your head like, what are you thinking? Because that's what I thought. All right, let's go with our last point guard in the mix, Ryan Arcidiacono. As I said before, they just re-signed him. He played in 24 games, averaged about 13 minutes a game with just 2 points, 42% from the field, 1 rebound, and 1.5 assists per game. Ryan was a national champion in college, and he's got a great basketball IQ. As we said before, he is a true point guard. He's the only true point guard that we've got on this whole team. He will put the ball exactly where it needs to be. He's efficient, really rarely turns over the ball. I don't expect too much from Ryan in terms of expectations this year, but when he's out there, you can count on some hard hat, kind of lunch bucket, work ethic, hustle, right? That's what he does. So I don't know. He's only in his second year, and I really, really hope that he picks it up. Sad to say, but I kind of hope he's the option before Cameron Payne. I don't know how that's going to happen. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to happen, but time will tell. We'll see.
Wow. Yeah, you're super low on Cam Payne.
I'm not that low. I just
you want Archie to get minutes over, or you think that Archie Diacono can catapult over Cam Payne?
Here's what I think, and this is serious.
Mm-hmm.
I think Arcidiacono, in terms of a team element, will be better in terms of providing assists and moving the ball up the floor, which is the pace and space that Fred Hoiberg wants. I think Ryan is more suited to that than what Cam is.
I don't know, man. I know you said that you didn't like Cam Payne, like on the floor and stuff like that, but I saw him in a couple possessions last season. He actually had a little swag with the ball. He played with some swagger. So I don't think Archie is going to beat him out, but Archie, he is a decent player. Like you said, like he's a hard hat guy, and maybe he does have a little bit more of the hustle and bustle than Cam Payne, but I still think Cam Payne is an overall better player. And I'm hoping he is. I'm going for Cam Payne on this one.
All right. Time will tell. Time will tell. You got the advantage so far because he's played a little bit more, but we'll see as the season goes on.
We'll see.
All right, let's talk about the 500-pound gorilla in the room, shall we? Zach LaVine. All right, shooting guard. Of all the players on the Bulls, Zach LaVine is the one that's expected to contribute the most out of any other player on the Bulls. He just got a monster 4-year deal, $78 million, and all eyes are going to be on him as the future leader of the Bulls. This whole rebuild is around Zach LaVine, the entire thing. I kind of think it's around Lauri Markkanen too, but I don't know if they know which way they're going to lean on that, right? Last week, we played a clip of Zach in an interview where he talked about not wanting to be the second fiddle, but that's a role that you have to earn. And we expect Zach to not only step his game, but be the clear leader and leading scorer of this team. And that's going to be tough. When you got Jabari, you got, all the rest of the guys on this team, that's going to be tough. It'll be a big challenge. And people like Lauri Markkanen and Jabari Parker and those guys are going to push Zach to heights in his career that he's never been pushed to. So he needs to really, really step it up. Really, really step it up. He's got to really do this year in order to gain the confidence of the coaching staff and, most importantly, the love of the Chicago Bulls fans. So he's getting paid like an all-star now, and that's exactly what I think we should expect out of him. He needs to put up all-star numbers this year and lead the Bulls deep into the playoffs. Anything less, to me, than the Eastern Conference Finals would be a failure. The East is wide open, and this is Zach's crowning moment to make his mark in Chicago Bulls history. What do you think? Don't laugh at me.
No. I'm just saying, man, like you're expecting mountain high things from Zach LaVine. You said the Eastern Conference Finals come next season?
I didn't say when.
Oh, okay. Just during the duration of this contract, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right. I agree there. All right. With Zach LaVine, man, I just hope that he doesn't come in and try to overcompensate for the talent that we have on this team, because now that he's playing with Jabari Parker, Lloyd Mark, and Chris Dunn, he can play, and even the kid Wendell Carter Jr. I'm hoping that he doesn't come out there and try to show like, hey, I'm the man. You know what I'm saying? And take all of the shots and do all of this other stuff. I think Zach LaVine will be just fine if he plays within the offense. If he can get everybody involved, take his shots when he's supposed to, and maybe even be that, the down to the wire score for us. You know what I mean? Like maybe take over the fourth quarter when Jabari isn't hot and Laurie is missing his shots and things such as that. If he can be that, that reliable guard, to come in and actually give us the buckets when we need to, I think it'll be a successful season, or I think it'll be a really good contract for Zach LaVine if he can just be consistent with that. I don't think that he needs to try and do too much. Don't try to be the star and this and that. Like, just let it come to you. I think that would be the best thing for Zach LaVine if he just plays within the team and let the game come to him. Take his shots when he's supposed to and get everybody else involved. And not to mention play some D. Try hard on defense. If he can do those things, he'll be just fine.
Now, in consideration with the front office that we have, I do think LaVine's going to be gone in 2 years.
Oh, wow.
No, I don't. I don't think he's going to live out his contract. I really don't. No.
Are you saying that because you don't have faith in his ability, or?
No, I have all the faith in the world of his ability. I don't have any faith in the front office.
Like what do you think would make them make that move though? Like if he's playing solid.
Okay, so here's what I think. I think if Jabari does well, he'll be picked up next year. I think that they're going to get rid of Zach for something by the time that it's time for a contract for Lowry and a couple of the other guys. I think it's going to be a cap-saving move that they do. That's just my prediction. I could be way off. If you would have told me they would have traded Jimmy Butler, I would have said, come on, it's our franchise player. But as it turned out, that happened to be a really good move that they did because we got three really good quality guys in exchange. Exactly. But anyway, I don't want to jinx Zach, and I really, really hope that we get to have many podcast episodes where we're kind of just relishing in the wins throughout this season because of Zach LaVine.
Hopefully.
Yep. All right, let's talk about what I feel is the most valuable guy on this team. And I don't mean MVP. I mean the most valuable to us from a trade consideration. And I'm talking about Justin Holiday, shooting guard. He is a solid contributor off the bench. He's a great starter. His minutes will probably drop significantly as LaVine and Blakeney start to bring in more stuff and basically render Justin as excellent trade bait because he's on an expiring contract this year. It's worth just over $4 million. He's playing a lot better than what a $4 million contract is. He would be a welcome addition to any team that's looking to fill a hole at the two-guard slot. I say this, as far as expectation for Justin Holiday this season, play well up until the trade deadline, then we can move him, get an undetermined missing piece or maybe a draft pick out of it, and close out this year and make a playoff run. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I retort the same. I'm hoping that he can be the second coming of Nikola Mirotic and just come in and light it up, just go crazy and just boost his trade value through the roof. So that would be perfect for us. Please do that, Justin, because I really don't want him to take minutes away from guys like Chandler Hutchison, and I want to see what we have in these other guys, and Antonius Cleveland, even Denzel Valentine. Mm-hmm. But I really want to see what we have in some of our other players, plus Jabari Parker and all that. I just think that Justin, he doesn't fit this team. He doesn't fit our timeline or anything like that. But he is a really solid player. So if he can come in next season and make the minutes that he does get count, then that would be really good for both sides because I think the Bulls would trade him to a contender, and that would be a team that would likely want him, right? So yes,
I would like to see him go to Indiana. Wouldn't that be great to play with his brother?
That would be crazy. Yeah, it would. That would be awesome, man.
All right, this is my highlight of the entire guard evaluation. Antonio Blakeney, AB.
AB.
What can you say about AB, a guy who's already fulfilled all of our expectations so far? Well, drive harder. AB's method in getting into the NBA was filled with challenges and obstacles and all the rest of it. He's a former Ben Simmons running mate in college, and he showed the entire G League the meaning of heart, hustle, and muscle. He earned the Rookie of the Year honors, outscored everybody in the entire league by like 10 points a game. Like, it was not even close. This summer league that he had this year, his play proved that he was the real deal, and he was signed to a full NBA contract for 2 years. Now, my expectation for Antonio Blakeney this year, become a scoring machine off the bench. Instant offense. Like, right when Fred puts you in, go for it. I think he's going to be a United Center favorite. He's going to be kind of the next Nwaba, if I may dare say that. But I'd love to see a little bit of Nate Robinson in him, like a little bit of swagger. Wouldn't that be fun in AB? I don't know if his mentality really warrants something like that. I've never really seen him get cocky or anything on the floor, but we could use a little dose of that. What do you think?
No, definitely. His job is going to be to come in and just be that assassin, man. Like, when he gets in, he needs to come in and just straight up score. You need to just murder your men as much as you can. Because when he actually does get minutes, it'll be for that reason. Just because we have so many guards, so many wings on this team. So they're going to use him as a secret weapon. And I'm really excited to see what he actually does with that. If Antonio Blakeney can average, say, 15 to 18 minutes per game, I'm hoping that he can make those minutes count and put up at least 12 points. 12 points with those 18 minutes, and that would be solid for me.
Oh, that'd be great. All right, let's finish it off with some new guys here. We got 2 new guys that we really don't know too much about, but we'll still set some expectation for them. Beginning with Rawle Alkins from Arizona. We don't know that much about him other than he's great friends with Lowry. We talked about Savage Life last week. We played that clip. He just got signed to a 2-way deal, but we do expect that he'll get some playing time off the bench for at least 20 games this year. I want to see Savage Life back in Chicago. I want to see it move from Arizona to kind of adopt this meme. Everybody that I've talked to says Chicago is the place to adopt that moniker of Savage Life. And as Lowry's friend, we would expect Rawle to propel his old teammate to a new level while also tearing it up in the G League. What do you think about Rawle?
I really like Rawle. The small sample that I've seen of Rawle, he looks like he can definitely be like that strong nose, that hard nosed player that's going to come in and just do all of the dirty work, man, and knock down an open shot. He actually looks like a scrappy 3-and-D player to me, and he's built like a tank, man. Have you seen him? Like, he's a big dude,
man. He's big.
Legit. Like, so I really like the potential of Rawle Alkins. Like we said, we haven't seen a whole lot from him, so I can't say too much, but just that whole Savage Life thing, that just shows me what his mentality is like. So he's the perfect player for the Chicago Bulls. I hope they do pick up that Savage Life thing.
Oh, me too. Let's get it. We got to propagate it. All you guys listening out there, Savage Life. Just Savage Life everything. Baby. Just start the hashtag. Let's claim it. It's ours now. Arizona, you cannot have it any longer. You guys are getting paid for it, so we own the rights. Right? All right, and let's wrap this up with somebody that is very intriguing, Antonius Cleveland. He's a shooting guard. He was undrafted in the 2017 draft. He signed with the Portland Trail Blazers to join their Summer League roster. He averaged about 6 points a game last year. Then he signed with Golden State to go to training camp with them. Then he was waived by the Warriors in September, assigned to the Santa Cruz Warriors, the NBA G League team affiliate. That was in October. Just a couple weeks later, he signed a 2-way contract with the Dallas Mavericks. Then, this is what's weird. He made his debut later that night. He recorded just 2 points, 2 rebounds, but throughout that time in his two-way deal, he'd split his playing time between the Mavericks and their G League, the Texas Legends. He was playing actually for the Mavs last December, and he was injured in a loss to the Phoenix Suns, and then they waived him a day later. God, man. A day later after getting injured? Oh, you're out. Sorry, man.
Savage.
He then signed in February to Cleveland with a 10-day contract. He signed his second 10-day contract in Atlanta. Then they signed him to a multi-year contract, and in July they put him on waivers. Fine, we'll take him. 2 days later, we claimed him off waivers. The only thing I can say in terms of this guy is contribute off the bench, make an impact, and you'll have a very fresh start in the NBA in which you can build upon. And he was undrafted, so I hope that every minute he's in the NBA in terms of in the game, that he gives it his all. I hope this is the next Nwaba. Who knows?
Who knows, right? From what I saw from him in the Summer League, I didn't see him play a whole lot with the Hawks Summer League team, but I did notice that he was averaging 13 points per game. So that just showed me that he can actually put the ball in the hole, right? Like, I think that he can probably, when he does get some minutes, if he is called up, actually he's signed with us. He's not on a two-way, right? Like, when he actually does get in the game, hopefully he can make the most of those minutes and just, hit those buckets, those surprising buckets. Like, because I don't think anybody expects a whole lot from this guy. So anything that he can do positively, like, it would be a plus for him. I think he should just come in, like, looking at his athleticism and everything like that, he should come in, just play crazy defense, rebound the ball, dive for those loose balls, and when he gets the opportunity, hit the open shot.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, and that's the last guard that we had to talk about here, everybody's athletic. All of these guards are athletic.
Young and athletic, baby.
That's what we need. We need some guys who are just athletes, who are strong, can do a lot of body movement, and go up and grab a board if they have to. Mm-hmm. These guys are all relatively decent at making threes. They're not horrible, but they're also not great. And hopefully that's something that Hoiberg and the rest of the guys in the coaching staff can kind of push. So I'm really hoping that we have a whole new bench mob. It seems like, there's a lot of guys waiting in the wings. We got Chandler Hutchinson and all the rest of the guys. I'm hoping that our second unit can really make the difference this year, because last year it just sucked. So any final words that you want to give about the guards as a group?
I think that we have a really solid roster of guards. Like, as far as the guards on our roster, I think that we have really solid players. And I think that if all of them can band together and, just put up at least decent numbers, respectable numbers for this Bulls team, I think that we should be all right. I really like some of the guards that we have on this team. So we shall see what they do, man.
That's right. All right. Right after this, we're going to talk about potential Chicago Bulls trades. Okay, so what we're going to do is start a new segment here on the Bulls podcast. We're going to talk about potential Chicago Bulls trades that we can do here in the 2018-2019 season.
Mm-hmm. The fun stuff.
Yeah. What we're doing is Wise and I have both come up with some trade scenarios using the ESPN trade machine. And if you want to get involved in this and perhaps even throw some trades at us that you might think work a little bit better than what we suggest, just head on over to bullspodcast.com/Facebook, or you can tweet it or leave us in comments. But I will leave the trade machine link in our show notes here for episode 2. So just go to bullspodcast.com/2 and you'll get the links and all of the notes for this particular show. So here's the criteria, at least from me. What are the biggest and most needed trades this year? We already talked about Justin Holiday. Okay. Big value for the money, needs to be explored. Me, I want to get rid of Denzel Valentine and Cameron Payne. I know, not a popular opinion on this show, but I think we got some stuff that we can get in return. And third and finally, this is the prayer. hopefully someone can take Omer Asik and Robin Lopez off our hands so we can make some room next year for a little more scratch to give some players, right? So you want to go over your trade first, Wise?
Yeah, so this was my first time playing around with the trade machine. I actually had a lot of fun. So the trade that I thought of was we going to get Patrick Beverley from the Los Angeles Clippers for Justin Holiday. Now, I think that this trade makes sense just because Patrick Beverley is that just hard-nosed veteran that we need in the league, right? That we need on this team. I think that he would be the perfect player for the Chicago Bulls team, not even just because he's from Chicago, but obviously that helps, but he's a fierce defender, man. He was a part of the 2016-2017 NBA All-Defensive First Team. He's a career 38% three-point shooter, and he has really nice playmaking ability, man. So I think Pat Bev would just be perfect for us. I think that he would actually be the leader of this young Bulls team. Like, he's only 30 years old at the same time, too. Plus, he still plays at a high level. I think that he would be really good for the Chicago Bulls team. And with Justin Holiday going to the Clippers, they don't have a lot of 3-and-D wings that can create their own shot, shoot the three ball at a solid rate, and who has a really nice contract. Like, he only has one more year. So if it doesn't work out, then they can just let him go. But I think that this trade will be awesome for both sides.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a great trade. I watched him play with Houston last season, and he completely demolished OKC with his play in the first game of their playoff matchup last year. I don't know if you caught it, but he came out of the gate with 8 out of the first 12 points for Houston. He finished off with 21 points, 10 rebounds, 2 steals, and they had a 31-point rout over Westbrook, Paul George, and Melo. I think this would be a great pickup for the Bulls, and I think that you got a keen eye for picking up talent. I think this is a great trade that we should execute.
You know what? And they just grabbed Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and they even still have Milos Teodosic. So, and this is Pat Bev's last year with them. So, man, come on home, Pat. Let's get it, bro.
Yep. Let's do it. All right, my trade. Ishmael Smith, the point guard for the Pistons, for Denzel Valentine and Cameron Payne. Yep. He is on a $6 million contract. Thus, that's why I'm giving up 2 guys for that. He's played for 10 different teams in the NBA. So I think it's his turn to play with the Bulls, right? I think it's like on his tour. But right now he's on the last year of a 3-year deal worth $6 million. Here's the kicker. This is something we haven't had as a Bull lately. He's 30 years old, but he played in every single game the last 2 years. He's tough. He can put up about 10 points a game as a backup point guard. He does have one weakness, which will hinder him a little bit on the Bulls, which is he's a 30% three-point shooter. But any good point guard should be able to spread the floor with different options that we have available, especially this year. What do you think about Ish Smith?
I'll tell you what, I would definitely rather him over Cam Payne. Like, that's who I would take over Cam Payne. When you watch Ish Smith, like, he's like a lightning jolt when he's playing on the court. Like, he's insanely fast. And I think that throughout all of his years in the NBA, he's just gotten better and better. Like, he's a really good veteran in this league. And when I see whatever team he goes to, he contributes. Like, he does his thing on whatever team. All of the teams that he's been on, he pretty much has put up solid numbers. And I think he's like, that's why he's really sticking with Detroit. But Ish Smith, I like the trade. Like I said, over Cam Payne, I would definitely take him. He's a really solid point guard. We could use him.
Nice. All right, and I got just one kicker story here with the trade. I did, and I'll link this into the show notes as well. There was an interesting story from the Windy City blog that involved some trade scenarios where the Bulls could get Frank Mason III from Sacramento. Basically, the crux of this whole story was the vulnerability of the Bulls' point guard position. You know, we all want Chris Dunn to do everything that he can do and be healthy all year, but our backups are Cameron and Ryan Arcidiacono. And those guys as a group don't instill a lot of confidence in me. And I was thinking, well, what do we do to patch this hole, right? And I was looking at this story, and it made sense. Frank Mason III, he's in his second year. He was kind of on the rise. And then the Kings just signed free agent point guard Yogi Ferrell to fill the backup role, and he could be out. Mason could be out anyway. He'd be a great fit for the Bulls. He's young. He's quick. He's a perfect tempo guard with a second unit. He's selfless. He's got a very high basketball IQ, and he would work very well with Bobby Portis, Justin Holiday, if Justin's still around. Basically the two shooters that are in the second unit. He's got a much healthier track record than what Payne does. I'm just saying. And there's nobody that the Kings would want. There's nobody on the Bulls roster that the Kings want. Nobody. Like, there's no holes that they have. They're not going to pick up a large contract like Cristiano Felicio or Robin Lopez. They don't want somebody of equal value like Blakeney or Arcidiacono. But the Kings do want something. And the article talked about maybe a future second rounder or even a protected first round.
Yeah,
I think that's probably good. I would love to give them a second round pick in exchange for this guy. He's relatively cheap in terms of his contract. But as far as work ethic, potential, and cheap cost, I think they hit it right on the head as far as Frank Mason III would be a perfect Chicago Bull.
All right. Now, I was looking at a little bit of Frank Mason, and what I saw from him is he is a very, very, very good passer. Like, he looks like he's just a really good pure point guard. The Summer League game I was watching, that the Sacramento Kings played against the Memphis Grizzlies, he put up 10 points and 13 assists. So, and even when I watched him, he was just hitting the man. Like, he was hitting the open man, like, every rip. Like, he was doing this thing out there, man. And even on the scoring tip, I like that he pretty much let the game come to him. He didn't force any shots. He would come off of pick and rolls and hit the open mid-range jumper. I saw him knock down a three-point shot. He got to the basket when he needed to, and he actually drew in the defense a little bit, which let me know that players actually feel like he can hoop as well, other players. So I think that he's a really solid player from the little bit that I saw from him. I'll definitely have to watch more tape on him and, just get to know him a little bit more, but from what I saw, giving him the eye test, he looks pretty decent. I like him.
Good. All right. Well, that closes out this segment. We'll take a break real quick and close it all out. All right. Before we say goodbye, I want to thank each and everyone out there on social media that commented, liked, shared, and retweeted episode 1 of the Chicago Bulls podcast. The first production of any kind of show is difficult, and Wise and I really kind of got to know each other as that first show was being recorded. That was actually the longest conversation we had ever had with each other, period, which is probably surprising to some because I got a lot of comments that said, boy, it sounds like I'm just listening to a bunch of old friends talk about the Bulls. And that's our bond, right? We are both Chicago Bulls fans for life, and we're happy to be connected to each other so we can geek out every single week on Bulls info to share with you, the Chicago Bulls fan. I am so excited for the upcoming season. I'm so eager to see the new pieces get into place, but I'm even more enthusiastic that Wise and I get to cover it all right here on the Chicago Bulls podcast.
Man, same here. I'm so glad that you are not connected. Like you said, like just two bull lifers, as I love to say, just bull lifers, just chatting it up, man. Like, this is so easy to me. Like, it's nothing. And I'm pretty sure a lot of our listeners could do the same with us. That's why I can't wait till the season starts so we can start doing a lot of just, live game reactions and just interacting with a lot of the fans and just chopping it up, man. I can't wait. I think that we're going to have a ball next season, especially with all of the new players that we have and things such as that. So I'm really excited to get to it. But as my man Marcus said, you guys, please help us out on social media. Follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and because we're doing this for all of us, you know what I'm saying? So get in the Bulls, the Facebook group and all of that, and just so we can connect with you guys, man. And we all can just have fun and just enjoy this time together as Bull lifers, man. Let's go. Let's do it, guys.
All right. Well, that'll do it for this episode. Until next time, go Bulls.
Go Bulls, baby.